Thank you guys for joining us today. I'm Dr. Jonathan Song. Most of you guys already know me. I'm a practicing dentist in Southern California. I have three practices here. I still work 4 to 5 days at least. I love practice management, which is why I started this webinar series. I love to learn, which is why I have this amazing guest like, um, you know, Sylvia Mitra here. But yeah, and then I had a marketing guy on Tuesday as well, and there are a few more guests coming in. I like to learn, which is why I bring them in so I can learn and also share the knowledge at the same time. So welcome everybody. Today we have Silva, right? Silva Mitra.
Mhm.
Okay. From she's a founder and visionary of the Simour Design, which is based in Beverly Hills. We'll be talking about the interior designs and facility ROIs, and maybe if we have time, touch on the lease, and then some tips about patient experience, I guess.
Yeah,
So everybody, please welcome Silva.
thank you. Thank you, Dr. Song. Hello, everybody. I'm super excited to be here today. I'm gonna share my screen and I'll walk you through the entire process. Um, you have any questions? We have already some of the questions that it came to Dr. Song, but if you have more questions, you can put in on the chat and we'll get into it at the end of the webinar. So I'm gonna share my screen. Everyone can see my screen? Yeah, awesome. So today or this evening, we're going to talk about the 3 ROI driving strategies of healthcare interior design. This is in general, including dental, and really truly in the next, 45 minutes, we'll go deep into how you can really maximize your return of investment into your practice, into your space. As Dr. Song introduced me, I'm Mitra Silva. I'm the founder, CEO, and visionary of Simour Design. Simour Design, my company, is specialized medical and dental interior design. I've been doing this for over 18, 20 years. I was a pre-med student before I went to design school. I decided to shift to other passion, which was interior design. And as years passed by, I realized, I graduated interior design and I was doing big projects like Walt Disney, HBO headquarters, like very big commercial projects. And I realized something is missing for me. And I did a lot of work within, and I'm like, oh, I still have so much passion for medical. So I combined the two together, and that's where the whole story started. Now we have clients all across US, from New York to Beverly Hills, Chicago, and we have clients in very small or middle of nowhere in Utah, Colorado, Texas, you name it. We have completed over 200, I guess by now, 250 projects all across US in different specialty, in plastic, aesthetic, dental, even within the dental, a lot of different specialty, like a lot of very specific dental, from cosmetic to surgery side of the dental, the general practitioner in practice of dental, and so on and so forth. But one of the very common elements that all of our clients, they have in common, they're high performer, meaning they truly dedicate themselves to education, to learn, which you guys, all of you guys are on the call, as well as really being a goal oriented to see if they do and take any actions or decisions, what is that end result? That's part of the high performance attribute. So if you're here, this is for you. If you want to really simplify your process, if you want to start a new location or start your practice, if you want to expand or move or purchase a space or purchase a practice. And if you really want to invest wisely, and this is for you if you want to increase profit and also accelerate your ROI. One of the side effects of our design, every time we design for our clients, we do a lot of case studies. We go back to our clients. They really exponentially have the highest level of growth because everything is super, super intentional. One thing I want to invite you before I get started, remove all the distraction, possibly, I don't know, turn off your phone. And because I truly believe how we do one thing, we do everything. I'm here. I put any questions you have in the chat, and at the end, I will answer it with Dr. Song together. So in the next 45 minutes, I will cover number one, how to optimize your space for profitability. Two, how to streamline the design build process, because that's a big, what do you call it? Like a big confusion, or it can be super overwhelming because there's no, the truth or the right way of doing it is not in the market necessarily. So I'm excited to share that with you, and where to invest wisely to really truly maximize your ROI, because this is your life. You're putting all of your time, energy, money into it. But what is that really the most incredible and wise way of to investing into that so you can get the highest level of ROI? So let's get started. So let's talk about what doesn't. Sometimes when you create contrast, it's much more digestible, and then you can see what's actually driving the ROI. So what doesn't drive the ROI? The usual story that we get from our clients is, this is actually one of our projects in Utah. Our clients hired a very well-known architect and design firm who were actually building the entire building, and they were leasing one space, which was this space for them. They went through 6 months of designing, planning, going through the entire process. And our clients, which they were two partners, they're like, something is not right in this process. And they knew it in their heart. So they came to us. They found us and they came to us. And when we looked at their space planning, it was so unintentional. It was all about like structural and like what is the best size of room based on the equipment, instead of thinking, what is actually bringing the ROI to our space is, number one is a patient experience, right? That's how you, when the space is so intentional and so efficient and is hand in hand with being a right patient experience and work efficiency for your team and for yourself, then you can really see the patients faster. You get the highest level of patients referral, and you have a highest level of patient retention, patients coming back to you. But fortunately or unfortunately, we get a lot of corrections from other design firms and architecture firms. So our clients came to us, we went through the entire process. We're actually opening the second location for them in a matter of 2 years. So really understanding when you are not intentional to optimize your space for profitability, it can really, you never can get that highest level of profitability from it. So the way we design as Simour, we really put our intention to elevate our design for a business growth, not just for now, because you're spending so much money to renovate, to expand, to build, but what's next now and what's coming next? If you've been in practice long enough, you know, one of the top pain point in any kind of medical practices, it's outgrowing of the space. Meaning in a year or two, the boxes stop piling up under the, I don't know, office manager or in the office, the efficiency goes down. So it's just like not thinking about what the money that you spend into that or the investment of time and energy, it doesn't have the same level of support for your business growth. So I want to share a case study with you. This is one of our clients. As usual, they brought the plan they did it with the architecture firm. And I'll walk you through it, and I'll do 2 layers of it so you can see different part of when we do evaluation, when we look at the space. So this one, when you look at this space, the highlighted area, it only shows 50% of this square footage is actually generating income. So when we do our space planning, we created this formula and it's very, very successful. We look at the square footage and we look at the overall. And usually architects and designers, when they do space planning, they don't even look at these layers. They just look at the structural part and then allowing a certain square footage to each room. But when we design, we look at it and we have this formula that minimum 60% of your square footage must be allocated to income generating area. And we usually take it up to the maximum is around 70%. The other 30% is hallways, restroom, break rooms, and lounge area. We never call the waiting room because no one wants to wait. So I want to invite you from this moment, do not call that first entry point waiting room. You can tell your team, tell the patients, I'll come and get you from the lounge area. That's simple, right? Like instantly you position yourself in the world-class level by changing the terminology. So our clients brought this floor plan. We looked at it. We're like, okay, it's only 50% revenue generating, too many offices, right? There's with this square footage, this size, there's 1 offices, and then the other architecture firm, they allocated half of 1 room with the desk and another, like putting the medical chair in it or operatory, however you want to see it, but just this room has been split into 2. And then there's only 3.5 rooms to generate income. And the lab is all the way to the end of the hallway, which is when we do our space planning, we count and we have this formula, like how long does it take your team to go from point A to B to come back to the patient? So it's very, very important. In a matter of days or weeks, you don't really see the effect, but in a matter of months and years, that's really impact your efficiency and profitability. So here's how we changed it. Okay, now I'm going to show you how we optimized and corrected the plan. You see the entire space, the green area, which is over 65% now is revenue generating area. You might ask yourself how the entry point is part of the revenue generating area. We added a retail area. I'm sure whatever your specialty is, you always can add retail to your practice. Either, I don't know, like whatever your specialty is, always count for any kind of shelving and retail area. And I have a whole webinar behind retail and the psychology of it. But very quickly, I can tell you, as a human psychology, when we as a human or patients and clients, we walk into any kind of spaces, we pay attention to the right. So we change the swing of the door. Do you see that? And put the retail on the right-hand side. So the patients, they enter, subconsciously pick up on that, there is elements that I can take and you can add value to your patients, and it increases the revenue and the retail process for the practice. One other thing that I want to add here, when a patient leaves your office with 2 products, it increased 50% of a chance they return back to you. And this is very powerful because they feel connected. They feel you're adding more value to them. and by all means, I'm going to challenge you here, it's your responsibility to upsell and add more value to your patients authentically, right? But you have to think through it step by step, inch by inch throughout your entire space. So we added one office instead of like we reconfigured the entire area and added an office, one large office, and we shifted the receptionist by just literally doing an L shape to 2 seating reception area. This is what I was mentioning in the beginning, that you have to think 3 years, 5 years, 7 years down the road, what's going to happen to your practice? You're not going to be the same. I mean, hopefully you're not going to be the same practice, because your practice is like your baby is growing. And if you don't have an intentional space, you either can outgrow of your space or you cannot grow as fast. And thinking with this one shift, you see that, from making this an L shape and creating a 2 reception area, our clients can, they're leasing the space for 10 years. So they don't want to pause. We don't want them to pause after a couple of years and like, oh, we need one more seating area. Just really thinking and planning ahead of time. And we added 4 full treatment rooms. And when we did a case study, we were able to add 23% extra revenue. They increased 23% revenue each per room. That's very powerful because they can see the patients faster. The space planning is super, super intentional. And really every room is really intentional to see more patients. And also we moved the lab area to make it more centralized, and that increasing the efficiency. And also when the team is faster and if more efficient, is a higher level of patient turnover. And also we added one room as being adoptable, okay? Some of our clients, they do a checkout in their treatment room or in their operatories. Some other clients, they want to give a higher level of patient experience and they do a separate checkout. So we created this room right before they leave. Either they can use it as a consultation room or like private checkout, and they can, when the patient is sitting in an area that is so intentional and they're comfortable, you can talk to them or you can upsell them authentically with the higher level of comfort and privacy, and they feel more comfortable to say, okay, maybe I schedule my next things, or like even like asking them like, would you like us to refer any of your friends or family? Like it becomes a very, very more natural checkout and adding value, and the patients live that way. They're much more they become a raving fan for you, not just a patient, because you're really leaving a beautiful, impactful, and strong closing when they leave your practice. So let's talk about the more of the now like a patient experience standpoint. This floor plan is very unwelcoming. If you can see, there is a closing part. It wasn't even ADA. It was so tight, this area. When the patients would walk in, they had to go through this door or go to this waiting room. All the seating are like airport seating next to each other. Very linear. There's no entertainment. There's no beverage station. Like you have to really think, first of all, with social media, with really seeing how healthcare, dental, medical has been so elevated, patients do observe and feel the difference when they walk into the space that is very intentional versus not intentional, especially for the cash base or the practices that there are potential that they can spend more money into the space, right? Into the practice. There is very inconvenient indirect room access, specifically for this practice. And here's how we changed it. We opened up the entire area. We removed all of these walls and, pocket door and everything. when our clients come to us and we see those, you know, the old-fashioned window check-in and it's all enclosed, patients don't want that anymore. Like some of our clients is like, what happened with privacy? It's like, if you have a call center or like calling area, we usually put it in the back of the office all the way to the end, but make that a very high level elevated patient experience. So it's all open, because subconsciously the message is transparency. When the space is open, is bright, is so spacious, regardless of how small or big the space is. This is pretty small entry point, but the way it's all open, which I'll show you in a moment, a couple of the pictures of it, then you know, like it makes a huge difference in the patient experience. And the other thing, we made it ADA, which is the handicap compliance. And we created a premium lounge instead of a waiting room. I'll show you the image in a moment, by really creating like more of a seating area that is communal. It's not like an airport. We added a beverage station, and in that area, we also added the retail area. And also we changed some of the complementary services that it has more direct access to the next door, to the next room. So when I was talking about revenue generating ads on, which was retail, I'll show you some of the pictures. It was one by the door, one in this area. So do you see that? Is a very small shift. You see that this is one of the retail area, another retail area in the room. By having something very simple and elegant, we usually use LED light to highlight it. And from having chairs sitting next to each other, we shifted to this. And when you're sitting in such an area, you feel like, wow, like they care. They care about who I am and how, like, they even showing up into their space. And it's very powerful. I mean, I tell you, we have clients that are startups, 1,000 square foot. We have clients 30,000 square foot, and we follow the same formula, and it has the same impact. We do surgery centers. We do a lot of complex medical spaces. We like all of this formula that I share with you is extremely, extremely powerful, and it can really affect the revenue generating force for your practice. And also when it comes to flexibility in rooms, conversational, building that piece for a future treatment or future like procedure, really having the area that they're comfortable to have that conversation, right? Instead of like, you know, they go through it, they just finish the procedure or anything, and they're like really taking this to the next level, and you're just rushing them to check out. And it's just all about that really being thoughtful and also putting yourself in their shoes and making them feel a world-class patient, because you're a world-class practice, regardless of your location, regardless of the size of your practice, and regardless of how long you've been in the practice. Okay, so let's talk about streamlining the design build process. Okay, I'm going to share with you the way we usually like to do and who we are at Simour. We love simplicity. We like to, like, we're so geeky about like data and Excel sheet and creating system in the background, because we know it serves our clients to get a higher level of impact and result. So I'll share that with you. So the usual way in the world of construction, design, renovation, in the world of, let's say, dental and medical, you start, you say, okay, I want to open a practice, or I want to renovate, or I want to move, or I want to buy a location with a practice with the location, or whatever that means. First, there's a vision. And then you go to a realtor and saying, okay, find me a space, possibly with like 3 rooms, 4 rooms, 5 operatories, whatever that is. And then you find an architect, an MEP engineer to start like looking at it, or sometimes the medical and dental equipment companies, they offer you like some, space planning, like Patterson or like Henry Schein or whatever that is. Like they just go through some space planning, right? And then possibly you hire an interior design to get you some maybe coloring mood board, and you go to a contractor and talk about cost and possibly hiring them, and then you bring the designer back for some furniture, and then you purchasing the items, and you open your practice or you renovate it or however that is. Okay, that's the usual way. I'm about to show you, if you want to get your highest level of ROI, this is not going to give you that. You're just going to be an ordinary, by all means, with respect, ordinary next door practice. Why the patients should come to you? Because how, again, from the beginning, I said, how we do one thing, we do everything. If you're showing up, if you really want to be a world-class practice with a world-class return of investment, you got to do something different that is proven process. Okay, so I'll show you. This is the right way. First, this is how we do for our clients. When our clients have a vision, first, starting with these 2 points, these top parts are very, very important. So meaning before you go to your real estate or realtor, real estate broker or realtor, you gotta know what is the right square footage for you, what is the cost going into that, and knowing, like, really position yourself, who am I that I want to walk into a, let's say, lease negotiation or purchasing negotiation, having a consultant, having a team that expert to support you. Then you're not being pushed around or fitting yourself and your dream into the space versus vice versa. You know exactly what you want. And if you're making a decision based on the space or based on the specific circumstances, then you're making it with being empowered. Okay. So once you have that, then you give that square footage approximate to your realtor, find me this space and negotiate it for me. Okay. We have a package. We help our clients in the lease negotiation part. It's like a 7 to 10 days of like process. We look at all of this, look at the square footage for them by answering certain questionnaire and getting the cost in place, and then they give that to the realtor. Okay. And then we go to look at the optimized space plan based on efficiency, based on your brand, based on who you are and how you want to grow, right? Instead of vice versa. And then going through the remaining of process and getting involved with the architect, and then selecting materials, everything within the budget, having a contractor, and then getting bids, and then going to purchasing of the whatever that is, like furniture, artwork, and then going to your launch day, right? So having initiating with these 2 steps is the key for you to really maximize your profitability. We see that over and over and over again by optimizing to increase your profitability. When you have those 2 elements that I'm highlighting here, it really saves you a lot of time and energy. None of our clients have full free time or even the budget. Every client comes to us, they have a very specific needs, but they all have already a practice to run, or like they have other things in hand. So you focus on what you're good at and let the expert team to support you. That's very, very important, because the faster the projects gets executed, the faster you can make money. As simple as that. And you really reduce the cost of change order, a lot of errors. That happens so much. 10 to 20% of the money at the end you spend, it goes to errors and change orders and not being well-planned process. And that's how you increase your ROI. Okay. So now let's talk about invest wisely to maximize and for maximize the ROI. I'll walk you through step by step of what is it that you have to look at. But let's start with being really real. What is the true cost of construction? Because I always tell our clients when they come to us, this process is like a wedding. Regardless of how many guests or how big or small the wedding or the guest list is going to be, you need to have a baseline, meaning you have to have a wedding dress or like tuxedo or whatever that. There's certain things is a baseline, and you will spend that money regardless because the construction cost, and again, we have projects all across US. Yes, the cost maybe in Arizona is different than New York, than Colorado, than Utah, than LA, but there is a baseline for the cost and you cannot skip that. If you skip it, you keep paying it, or some of our clients, they've done construction in the past, they had to keep taking loans or using their cash to keep covering up because the contractors, and I'll tell you, when our clients come to us, the contractor told them for the last 10 years, oh, it's going to cost you $100 to $150 per square foot. And I'm like, how is not this changing? How do they give this information? Really, like, let's be realistic here. So first, let's start with the true cost of construction. What we've been witnessing overall right now, especially after COVID, things has changed so much. The cost of construction. If you're doing a basic renovation, approximately it's around $290 per square foot. Okay. That's like doing a facelift. You do very minimum of moving walls and all of this. If you're doing an interior build out, that means your space is fully open and you have to build out the entire space. Especially with dental, there's a lot of mechanical and all of this. The baseline starts around $320 per square foot. And then if you want to do a premium build out, meaning using a high level of finishes, countertop, cabinetry, that it goes to more of the premium, it's the build out is around $400 per square foot. Okay. So let's say it's 1,500 square foot space. If you're spending between $435,000 to $600,000, then don't you want to be so intentional that every dollar that you spend is really work for you? That's how we design for our clients. If you know your two top highest expense in your practice is your payroll and it's your space. Your payroll goes up and down, and you have not much power over it because you truly need manpower, team, and it goes up and down. But the only thing that you have 100% control of is your space. And if you say, oh my God, I'm busy, it's overwhelming, I don't know what to do, where do I go, like who do I talk to, like you're going to lose the chance that you make the space and this investment work for you. Because when you really, truly, intentionally create your space, it start generating income. And it's like so much easier because you thought through how you want your space to have the highest level of ROI for you. And it's the shift of psychology, shift of mindset, how you're showing up in your space, how you even like, like taking the patient throughout the space and the way they coming to you. It's a life-changing and it's a change of mindset as how you even like really investing every dollar you have into your practice. What we witness usually, because we do case studies, we have some consultant who help us, like we talk to them and we see that, like, what are the costs that our clients, because we have clients that have their startup, we have clients that have 2 locations, we have clients that have over 17 locations. We have all kinds of clients. And we talk to them, we look at their previous spaces, what went right, what went wrong. And based on all of our case studies, 10 to 20% of the cost usually goes to construction is because of errors. So if you're spending that much money, which I showed you in this one, and then between $87,000 to $120,000 of that goes to errors, and it really makes delay for you to open your practice or start running the practice, which is you can start generating income. You can be much more intentional about it. And I'm excited for you to be exposed to this information, because this information not like really fully available on the platform, or people like really, you have to search for it. You have to be willing to be a high performer to learn about all of this. Let's talk about invest into the right team. Okay, I'm going to give you a breakdown. And again, I've been doing this for over 18, 20 years. And when I tell you invest into the right team, I truly mean it, because at the end, you win the game with the right expert team. So when you want to look for space, don't try to negotiate the space yourself. That's a big red flag, because you don't know the terminology. You don't know all the little details. Work with the medical and healthcare. And if you're specifically in dental, work with a specialized realtor and a real estate broker. They know the terminologies. And actually, there are some companies, they're national, there are local. We know that because our clients, we guide them through, different companies to work with them. When they come to us, they searching for a space. Either you're purchasing or leasing, really truly negotiate for the best thing, because especially now that every state, I'll tell you something. And our clients come to us and like, oh, like there's not that many medical and dental spaces. Every state is the same. There's no like, oh, like maybe Beverly Hills or New York or Chicago or San Francisco it has limit. It's just everyone. With every call that I sit, same story. There's not a lot of medical and dental spaces. So why the landlord should pick you? I mean, let's be transparent here. If you are a sophisticated tenant and going to the space, or you want to purchase the space, and really showing up that you're bringing value to the building, you're doing this for the community, you're doing this because you're a high performer and you want to set up a world-class practice there, then the conversation is different. You don't tell them, give me money if you're leasing, or TI allowance or this, and you're actually walking in with a different conversation, and your realtor becomes your messenger, and they can help you really have that art of negotiation. Okay, highly, highly suggest that you go that path. Then if you want to hire an architect, which we usually do, we become a main design team, and then we help our clients to either refine them, or if they have one, we collaborate with them, with the local architects, that they specialize in dental and medical. You don't want the other architecture and design firm to learn on your time and on your money. And we've seen it over and over and over again. Okay. If you want to expand in different areas or different states, I don't know what your goal is, but regardless, if you want to stay in one location, if you want to do 10 locations, 3 locations, doesn't matter, work with the team that is specialized on that. And then possibly if they're like national, you can just, expand to different location or different places. That's another like multi-state licensing and all of that. But really first thing, that they're really specializing in healthcare, dental, and medical. Then is a commercial contractor. Okay. And some of our clients in the past, they hire like, oh, there's an amazing contractor who did my home or my cousin's home, and then I think he can do a good job on our medical or dental space. Never, because they don't have the internal system to navigate through the commercial level construction. Again, it's a lot of learning curves. So highly recommend that you really invest, because that's how you can really, the cheapest contractor is not always the best contractor. Once you start practicing, when you renovate, and if they're not doing their job right and not having the right subcontractors for cabinetry, for certain things, you pay the price after a couple of years. Then you have to renovate again. Then you have to change the countertop. Then you have to change the specific part. At Simour, our motto is do it once and do it right. And that's huge, because when you set your space so intentional, it's go time. You want to go serve your patients, make money, and celebrate. If you have to keep pausing, oh, I don't know if I have the money, it's just like you change your story and you can change your life by being intentional, because you're going to spend that money regardless. Again, there's a baseline to construction to build a space. How wisely is the question. Then work with a medical interior design team, because understanding the patient psychology, the branding, and tying it into your interior design. When we design, we look at our client's logo, website, and we make the interior design, because your interior design is a tangible representation of who you are. Whatever they see on your Instagram, on your social media, on your logo, on your website, it has to be translated, because they sit on that chair, they're going to feel the door handle, they're going to see the lighting, and they feel it. They don't know what it is. All they can feel is the experience. We're not a marketing company, but we always create a collaboration either with our client's marketing team, or we create the mood board brand match, and they can take it to their branding or update their website, logo, whatever that is. So it's all cohesive, because subconsciously, we're such a clever being. We pick up on those elements, the color, the font, the logo. When they come to the space, do they have the same feeling? When we do that, when the patient comes, they have a higher level of trust in you. That's how you get higher level of patient retention and patient referral. Subconsciously, they feel so connected to you. Okay. And these are all data that we research. Everything that I tell you, we've done tremendous amount of time, energy, and research behind it to really see like what actually make a huge impact into our clients' ROI when we do the design. So work with a medical specialized team, that medical interior design team that is specialized in medical and dental. I want to share with you another data when you do things intentional or unintentional. This is one of our clients' case studies. He opened the first location, and he came to us several years later, wanted to open a second location with the same square footage. And when we did a case study, we were able to save him $66,000, even it was several years later, because he paid a lot of money into a lot of errors, a lot of like all contractor ordered materials, and start building things. And he's like, I didn't know it's gonna look like this. I didn't know the flow is gonna look like that. And also he didn't want to settle. So he had to make a lot of changes, and we were able to really save him that much money. And it's very powerful when you have a team that they understands all this level of details. When we select materials, furniture, and accessories, and everything else to design, first we do budget breakdown. You have to know how much money is going to go into that. And we very much respect that. We usually do standard, premium, luxury as far as the budgetary. And we give that number to our clients, like, where do you want to go? And when you're so intentional, you're not going to lose nights of sleep, like, how much I'm going to spend? Do I am going to spend more? Like, how long does it take? I mean, this is the world of like, now you can really rely on the experts team to really support you to get the highest level of ROI. I want to share this quick video with you, because once you're exposed to see a world-class and very proven process step by step, then you know what is the right way to do it. So I'll share with you our proven process. It's a quick video. So and I'll tell you what are the important elements afterwards. The last image that you saw, the 3D coming through, we do even before our clients go to construction, we do a virtual reality walkthrough. We send them our clients a VR headset and have them to walk through the space, because that's the time if you want to change something. We use technology to save our time and money for our clients. So you can see exactly what it looks like, all the design, all the materials, the workflow. And if you don't like something, that's the time to change it, not when the contractors start ordering materials. That's my invitation to you, to be that precise and expect that precision, because then you can really make the shift even in your practice as well. So I want to share with you one another video. I always tell our community, my dream is for you to learn from other medical practitioners. I don't know, learning or mistakes that they made, or, this is one of our clients, Dr. Waltzman, and he had around 200 to 2,500 square foot outgrown of the space, even though he renovated it. And after several years, he outgrown of it. And he went and he wanted to create this world-class practice. He's in Long Beach, California, Southern California. And he found a space. It was a dirt floor, and the landlord, because the way he positioned himself, the landlord says, I built the building for you. And he made a list for, I think, 10 years, 20 years, because he's like, this is the space for me. So we literally, with the help of the architecture firm, built the space from 2,500. He went to 6,600 square foot, surgery centers, medical part, aesthetic part. I'll let him to explain it to you. But this is the power of being intentional. It doesn't matter how much your square footage that you're willing and you want to go through it, but by being intentional and really position yourself in that world-class level, it really brings the highest level of ROI for you. So I'll let you listen to him.
I was at kind of a turning point, I think, in my practice when I reached out to you the first time. And I'd been in practice at that point probably close to 6 years, and had really rapidly kind of outgrown my current office space. And I never thought that I would outgrow my initial space, which seemed so big when I started my practice. It was only 1,500 square feet, which seemed huge. 6 years later, it was very, very tiny for me, and it was a good problem to have. But these were some of the constraints that I kind of faced when we started this journey. Hi, my name is Dr. Josh Waltzman, and I'm a board-certified plastic surgeon here in Long Beach, California. Taking on a project of this magnitude for a solo practitioner such as myself, it's a huge undertaking. Over a 6,000 square foot building, incorporating medical offices, a full med spa, and a surgery center all under one is a huge chunk to bite off for yourself, right? And so, having a partner like Simour from day one really kind of helped shrink that down a little bit more to a manageable size that I could take on. Otherwise, there'd be no way. If I was trying to piece together on my own the contractor and the architect and the designer and all these different aspects, it would be way overwhelming. I mean, not that this wasn't a big project, but still, it would be too much for one person to take on. Just talking to you the first time on the phone, I was like, the words that you were using was just like, she gets it. Like this idea in my mind of what it means to have like a world-class center. It really is, and everything is addressed and everything is thought about. I just knew. I think I had talked to maybe one or two other design build firms before that were just very, okay, I'm sure they do a good job, but there was nothing like, no spark, no excitement there. And as soon as I talked to you and people at Simour, like I just felt like there was no reason to go further. Like you got it, you had a shared vision of what I was looking to build, and that was just kind of it for me. Design is not my thing. I'm a surgeon, I'm a doctor, I'm good at that. The design I enjoy, but it's not my forte. And so that's why having someone who can already do all that back work and just bring the best of the best to you and say, this is what you have to choose from, pick one and move forward. I think that was great. But I mean, patients come in now and they comment like, wow, this is unlike anywhere I've ever been. Yes, when patients come in here, the concept and the idea was, well, they've arrived. There's not really a need to go anywhere else because we have it all here and it's at the highest level possible. And so from that standpoint, yeah, I think profitability for patient retention and conversion is definitely improved.
I would say the biggest thing is, one of the reasons I wanted to share this is like, it's a lot of details goes into one space. There's so much happening. And I want to invite you, this is not your expertise, nor like if someone who's a GC doesn't know design, or many general contractor, or like if you're a dentist, you're not a per se ophthalmologist. So everything has its own specialty. And I truly like want to invite you to think and be in that world-class level to really truly get to that level of highest level of return of investment. So as you see it here, we have a complimentary discovery call and design consultation. If whatever I shared resonate with you, we have a limited slots for every those complimentary calls. My team just put the link in the chat, or you can scan the QR code. The way it works, you find a spot that works for you, and we really every call is very customized to you because you fill out a design questionnaire, and we talk about your case scenario. I'll give you any expertise or advices that I know is best for you. And if you decided to work together, we put the proposal together, you sign, we're on board. But it's really like that call is customized to really understand and really give you expertly advices. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm here for any questions you might have. I know Dr. Song, you have some questions that you already received, so you can ask me any questions you might have.
All right, thank you so much for that presentation. First of all, apologize for butchering up your name, Mitra.
Okay.
But yeah, this webinar was great, and you guys' portfolio looks amazing. So thank you so much for that. What's your where does the name come from? Your firm name?
Yeah, so I'm originally Persian Iranian. but my husband is Mexican. So the last name Silva coming from him. And
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Oh, interesting.
So it had the whole rhythm or rhyme of Mitra and then Silva. So I was like, okay, great. I kept my one piece of my last name, but I usually now go by Mitra Silva. Yeah.
We have a live question here. Let's go through that. I think
Oh,
he was
about
asking about
our logo. Yeah, that's a good question. The bird on Simour. So Simour, and I kind of like modified the name in a Persian literature. There is a bird in in the mythology of Persian literature. This bird has a healing elements into it, and that's the name and the bird and the logo all like tied together. Yeah.
So you guys have like a branding process for because I've never done a startup, but I would assume there's gonna be a branding process for the logos and all that designs. Do you
We're
also
not a
implement that
marketing
as well?
company, but we know some companies that we refer our clients if they want to, because your logo, your website, and your interior design they all very comes from clarifying the vision, clarifying the mission, and has like, thank you for your question. I think it was Serena, if I'm pronouncing it right. Like now, if I tell you the bird is just, let's say, like, oh, it wasn't just the bird I liked, versus I told you it's a healing element into it, and we're designing healing spaces, medical spaces, you can really connect to us being so intentional, right? Same for the startup, or if you're not even a startup, there's always like every 3-4 years we refresh our entire branding. I think this is being in the practice for over now, it's like almost a decade or so. Like we go and we refresh, not necessarily like changing the logo if it's already working and it's already aligned, but just even who we become, because the business, the branding is live, right? Like if I was the same look and vibe from 5, 6, 7 years ago, would I attract the new version of ourselves clientele? Because let's say, Dr. Song, you just don't know about us, right? Like you search medical interior design, dental interior design, and it comes up and it's all, let's say, very outdated look. You wouldn't resonate if you want a modern, uh, upscale or like fresh and bright space. You're like, oh, this is not designed for, I don't think they can do what I can do. Same as you guys in your field, whatever the specialty is, like you truly communicate through all of those elements to your audience, your target market, by the color, by the font, by the look. And when they come to you and the same vibe is in your space, you instantly create a high level of trust. Yeah.
This would be part of your like concept
Yeah,
development,
mood board,
discovery
brand
stage.
match, mood board, and all of that.
Cool.
So the email address, you can definitely email us. You can email me, mitra@simourdesign.com, mitra@simourdesign.com. Yeah. Serena is asking for my direct email. Shall we go through the questions?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
One of the questions that I had.
I can
with
read them
different
if
types
you
of
want.
Okay. Oh, sure. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead if you want. Yeah, go ahead.
Like first question will be like, there's like different spaces, like there's retail, medical plaza, and there's like office space, condos. Is there like a kind of obvious pros and cons of each type of locations for healthcare settings?
Mm-hmm. So retail, medical plaza, office space, each location has their own strength and weakness. I think it's really important that what you should know is really pay attention to Neighborhood demographics, very important, because again, going back to the branding and messaging, is like, who's my target market? Am I like serving, from 18 years old to 30 years old? The more you niche you get, the more successful you get. They said riches in niches, because you truly connect to those that they are ready to connect with you. So as far as location, there's several things: neighborhood demographics, location accessibility. Let's say if you have like more elderly community, making sure there's elevator, there's like if you do retail, it might be higher, harder for accessibility, right? Are there any direct competitors in the area? You have to ask question. Why Unique versus the practice down the street? Like, where am I really want to land and really connect to my demographic and my target market? Are there supporting services nearby that complements my practice? For example, like, a lot of our dentists that they have like a lot of like aesthetic, for example, they usually go find a space that is near plastic surgeons, near a lot of hair salons, near a lot of med spas. So it's really, really important that you understand what is that target market look like. The other elements is there room for expansion in that place? If it's retail, like we did UCLA in Westfield Mall in Century City, that was our design. They actually charge a percentage of your profit. They take the income that you take. Do I want to expand that way or not? Because retail lease agreement is much harder, but it gives you so much more traffic. So that's why you have to really, really understand that, because when you lock yourself down, sometimes medical practices is easier. Sometimes our clients like, do I purchase? Do I lease? Like, that's a big question usually. I was like, maybe there's no formula for you to whichever. You have to understand your positioning for now.
That's why that discovery and all that first step is very important.
Yes,
to get
that's
that
very, very,
attention from
very, very important. Yes.
Gotcha. Let's see. I think a lot of them you already covered. Like there's a
Yeah.
budgeting question about the construction.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about that. Oh, how big should the waiting area, lounge
area? Let's call it lounge area. Yeah. As far as the lounge area, there is and how big it should be. It really depends on your services, patient experience, patient size. We have clients that they want to have higher traffics. That means you have to understand in every 30 minutes how many patients they need to have a seating area, right? How many patients you have a turnaround. Some clients of ours, they want to have less patients, but more high-end. They charge higher level and they rather to have a very hand-selected patients coming through every 30 minutes. I think if you want to have some sort of measurements, 30 minutes is a good kind of a rule of thumb to understand how many patients you sit. And you can simply ask your team to count, like how many people will be in this lounge area every 30 minutes. Then that's one of the questions we ask our clients, and we walk them through this process. We have to think about all of that. The quality of the end result is about quality of the questions you will ask in the beginning. Okay. And the number one, I have a whole webinar around this. The number one patients complaint is a waiting time. If you go to Google or any review platforms, the number one is not like, oh, I got a bad like services or bad procedure, or like the number one complaint is waiting time. So eliminate the waiting time, change the terminology from waiting room to lounge area. Try your best to get the patients out of that area faster. And so it doesn't matter how small or big that is. We have clients that we design 2 lounge area for them. One, they enter, they check in 5-10 minutes, then they move it to the back area as a VIP lounge area. And all the refreshment is there, and the patients are so relaxed. It's just, what do you want to do with your patients? And that, like, and they're more cash based, so it's just the experience is so different. And like, it's so amazing, like what you can do with that area. That's like dating. You walk in, you have 3 to 5 seconds to make that impression. And if this is so overwhelming and you're waiting and all of that, you're like, okay, I want to get out of here sooner. I have pain. And one thing I want to tell you about dental field, because every field has a very specific patient psychology that we design. In the dental world, your patients come with the mental pain before even the physical pain. So you're dealing with that more complex, I'm sorry, but more complex patient experience than any other field, because there's unknown. They don't know what you're going to do with them, what's your diagnosis is going to be. It's just on, and how much you're going to charge me, what's going to happen, when am I going to get out of here? It's just so much in their head. That means like your space has to be so serene, so connected to them, to make them feel excited to come back, to trust you, to want you, to refer you, all of that.
Yeah, we're like probably one of the most hated professions. It's like I think I hear like probably every week, like, oh, I hate the dentist. But we're like, well, we just
mental pain. That's a mental pain. It's not even physical per se, and it's mental. And the way you can change it is by the way you're showing up in your practice and how you set it up. And like you just told me, like you're doing some updates, so really like thinking about all of that, it's so important, because they feel it. We're human. We want to be connected, we want to be wanted, we want to be loved, we want to be important. And when we do our design, the patients clearly, like you saw Dr. Waltzman, they said this is like no other space that we've been. And that's a very cool and amazing feeling to be when your patients come. And it's exciting when they come to our clients. They actually, like one of our clients, I want to tell you that story because it was so cool. Our clients, we became really close to our clients because we really truly care about the journey, and then later on we all stay connected. Our clients, like a year later, like start like texting, like our clients start crying in the lounge area. I was like, is this a good thing or bad thing? She said, I thought the same thing, but our clients said, we're so relaxed, we start de-stressing in the area. They feel so like out of like I'm in the space that I can release. And that's super amazing. And they're gonna go get like, physical pain and procedure and all of that, but just the fact that they know that the space is so like intentionally well designed for them. They see it. They truly see it.
Yeah, because I kept thinking about like the better space designs, like less anxiety, gonna give you more case acceptance with your diagnosis and all the things that you want patients to do. So I think the whole atmosphere and then the facility design is very important.
Environment and lighting. Lighting is super important. When we do our design, one of the big elements is lighting, because lighting controls human behavior. And it's like plant. You put the plant, where does it go? Near the window or the light that is like, and that's us too. Like when we do our design, it's called temperature of lighting, how yellow and how white it is. Like we truly we usually select 3,500 Kelvin, which is like a 1 to 2 p.m. sunlight kind of a light into the space. So it's not white, it's not yellow. The patients truly feel elevated. They feel, and even the team performance goes up, because at 2 or 3 p.m. your team is like going having coffee or sugar to wake up or do all of that is because the environment is basically taking energy out of them instead of giving energy to them. And that's how all of these elements really affects the ROI, the performance, the interaction, the energy, the interaction between the patients and the team and the space are all really have a big factor into the element.
What did you say you set the lightings on? Like,
We usually select 3,500 Kelvin, which is the color, temperature, how yellow and white the light is. It's usually around like 1 or 2 p.m. sunlight. You know how it's bright, but it's not to your eyes, but it's like good and it's good, it's elevated energy with the sunlight. And that's a temperature that we usually put in our design or spaces.
tell my contractor. It's like, yeah, as we speak, it's been like 5 days since they broke the ground, and then we'll be done in like a couple of weeks. But
Okay, awesome.
yeah, sounds great. Next question. I know you talked about the office design budgets. I think one example was like 1,500 square footage. I think normally, like when they do dental office like startups, it's like single practice owner. They usually go for like 5 operatories around like 2,000 square footage. What's like because I can imagine the cost has gone up significantly since the COVID, right? And I think it used to be like 500K or 600K, but now some people are getting like $1 million. I'm like, how do you start with that? Like, is that pretty typical, or what's the typical budget that you see?
Yeah, so it varies from state and city based on the project type and, but I tell you the range can be anywhere from 200 to 550 per square foot. Okay, $200 to $550 per square foot. For 2,000 square foot construction cost only, okay, this is not talking about your chairs or equipment or anything else or like permitting, like this is just a construction cost with finishes and to build a space. Interior build out can be from 400 to 775. That's what we've been witnessing with 2,000 square foot.
Wow. So add on the
It's expensive.
That
yeah.
is pretty.
Yeah.
That's around $1 million. That's crazy.
Yeah. For 2,000 square foot. So if you're spending that much money,
you better have a plan, right?
you better be ready for it. Otherwise, it becomes a very patchwork. At the end, you're tired. You just want to settle. You just want to finish. And like, let's get it. And then you never get that highest level of potential from the space. And for California, average like premium build out we witness is around 690K. That's like for California. And we usually like for the 2,000 square foot, then you add another 80,000 for furniture, artwork, lighting, fixture, and stuff.
Wow, that's around $1 million then.
Yeah.
Do you guys help out with like loan process too, like, or is that already approved before they get to you?
What is the question? Sorry.
Do you help out with like the loan process too? Is there
Loan?
banks use? Yeah.
We connect our clients with some loan for bankers that we know, and their process is easy. So we make the connection basically.
Gotcha.
We don't do it, but if they need any kind of resources, like for the loan or for real estate, whatever that they need, we do that resource and add value to our clients to connect them.
I would imagine like they would have to understand the process as well in the same industry, right?
When we do our starter package, which we help our clients with the square footage calculation, and then we do a cost opinion. It happened a couple of times actually in the last several weeks actually. Our clients submitted an application to the bank to get loan, And then simultaneously, we were doing cost opinion. And the loan they got approved with the cost opinion was exact number.
Oh, wow.
And because banks, they have all the AI, all the data, so they know, they calculate the market price, and then they give you loans. They prefer you don't keep coming back and take more loans. So now they got so smart to really calculate. So it was so good. Our clients was like, wow, I didn't even think like this can be like, this can happen. I'm like, that's the power of surrounding yourself by experts. These details get so clear for you. And the bank knows what's a decent amount of money to spend in that 2,000 square foot. It's very powerful when you get into that intentional level. And when you spend that 1 million, you make that money back like this. Because you know, this is my ROI, this is my business plan, this is my 1-year plan, 2-year plan, 3 years plan, and this is how I'm going to make the money back. So I invest this much and I'll make the money in this amount of time. And it becomes so simple. You make the space work for you over and over and over and over again. Yeah. I love it. You're like just thinking.
All right, let's get to the next question. Is there any common things that you see like that, like a space strategy that they should take more advantage of in their existing spaces?
Existing spaces.
Yeah, like you would, I don't know if a lot of us actually do like those retail retail area. Any those tips like that we can kind of utilize on our existing space right away?
So I think the first thing I would say is really, it's all about maximizing the space to work for you. If you really set that intention and everything that I shared, you know that it's possible, then you're off into a very good journey ahead. That's the first thing, shifting your mindset into really, I want to make that space to work for me. Then it's about efficiency and flow. Okay. The efficiency in this space, that's very, very important. The other elements is that I mentioned in the beginning of my presentation, at least 60% of your square footage should be allocated to income generating area. Okay. And then on top of that, then the retail can be added into it. Okay. Because retail can be two elements. It can do two things. It can distract the team, or it can really generate incomes. If you don't know how to strategize around it, it becomes the added things, and you just put things on the shelf and you never sell it. And it's just like, oh, I don't know, all of that. But if you really truly strategize around it, then it can bring extra income, added income. Yeah.
You can't just put like toothpaste up there to sell.
No, like there's some of our clients, they truly like find more advanced like toothbrush that, and they really truly have the team to be trained and why this is good for them. Why, like, you know, like some of our clients that they're like, you know, they do a lot of, especially like the like a high level of gum surgery and all of this, they have a very specific products that when they go to either like trade shows or they go to conferences, they bring it back and they really educate. Like you can use like different like rooms, or when the patients are like getting into the lounge area, put educational as why this is important for them. And if you truly believe that authentically is good for them, then they buy it. They're like, oh, my doc told me this is good for me and this is why, and I trust my doctor and I buy it, right? And your team gets trained around it. Is a beautiful way of elegantly by LED light, it's been highlighted, so that's extra added.
Yeah, and it's right there, convenient.
Yeah, right there. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Lots of strategies today.
But one of the questions we usually tell our clients is like, truly ask your patients, what's your daily routine? Then you learn so much about them. Like, what's your daily routine? And if you know what their daily routine is, then you're like, oh, you can do this better by doing AYZ or like whatever that is. And then you show them the product. But then again, it requires you become a high performer. You educate yourself like what you're doing right now. You're helping your community to learn. And then you set yourself in an intentional way. Then money flows. Like you're just part of that flow because you're intentional, you want to add value, you want to learn, and you want to share that.
I'm gonna implement that right away. Right. Any other question that we haven't gone through here? Anybody has any live questions in the audience? Once. Did you have anything else you would like to maybe chime in or cover?
I
You
believe
covered
I
all the
covered
bases.
everything. Again, the link, if you would like to do a complimentary design consultation, the link is in the chat. And first I want to thank everyone to showing up first for themselves. And if you're sending recording to everyone, just watching it, like taking the time to educate yourself is the #1 element to really elevate your mind and your how you're showing up. And second, I'm very grateful to be here to share this information. I'm very, very passionate. My team and I are super passionate about what we do and just giving me a chance to share all of this information. I'm very grateful for it.
Yeah, your team was amazing organizing, actually guiding me through how to organize this
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
flyers and all this. So I'm very grateful. So
Yeah.
thank you so much, Mitra, today.
Thank you.
Yeah, we would like to have you back at some point in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we have a few more webinars coming up. There's dental accounting in 2 weeks. Stephen Al is going to be here from Aprio, accounting firm, and then we have a dental IT coming in to talk about cybersecurity and all the data management, including HIPAA. That's going to be next month, and then I think I might do another rerun about how to buy a practice in 30 days, end of May. So stay tuned. And your feedbacks are very important to me and also Mitra here. If you have any feedback, negative, positive, I'd like to know what I can do better. Any other topic that you would like to learn, please let me know. I have a list of topics because you guys sending me some questions. I'm really grateful for that. So please keep sending those so that I can make more webinars like this so that everybody can be taken advantage of. So share this information to everybody else too. And let your friends know that we are doing this every couple of weeks or so. So thank you guys for being here, and thank you, Mitra, again. And then I'll see you guys again in 2 weeks. Have a great night.
Thank you, Dr. Stein. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.